knew the reason, he had absolutely no doubt. So he's just telling us that, have the Shraddha to listen to Krishna Bhagwan, because whatever he's saying is divine. And that is the bottom line he's saying. So if we are having a doubt, it's okay to have a doubt, but keep that Shraddha with it. Otherwise, we will bring our own stuff, argue, and no, it's not like this, it's like that. So we have to keep our opinion a little bit in the background and listen to what Krishna Bhagwan is saying with open heart. That's why he said so. He hammered it so much that it is not that Krishna Bhagwan, the charioteer, is not the blue boy of Vrindavan. It is Bhagwan talking. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, we can go to the next one. Any question on this whole thing? Because it is a little bit complicated, so that's why I took kind of so long, because if we have the right background, then we can move forward. Otherwise, we had the confusion about it. Kamlaji is back. Were you listening, Kamlaji? Sorry, what? We can't hear you.
She's muted. I was listening all the time.
Okay. So does that make sense for everything over here? Whatever we said?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go to the next one.
The path of action is the means to an end.
Yeah.
Not directly, but only as a preparation for the path of knowledge. Whereas the latter, which is attained by means of path of action, leads to the goal directly without extraneous help. To show this, the Lord says.
So we already discussed that the path of action is a means to an end, not directly, but a preparation for the path of knowledge. Knowledge we cannot avoid. Okay? So, but to gain that knowledge, we need to go through this path of action. Okay? So, the next verse. Na karmana manarambhat naishkaryam purushoshnute na cha sanyasya na deva siddhim samadhigacchati. Na is not. Karmanam, of action. Anarambhat, by non-performance. So, see this word arambha karna. Everybody knows arambha karna, right? To begin something. No arambhat means not to start something. Okay? So, means not doing something. Is किसी चीज को आरंभ ही मत करो. That's called not doing. Naishkaryam, actionlessness. This is an absolutely loaded word. But he used it over here because he knew that Arjuna knew this word, but he was confused about what it means. And I think that Joe always talks about akarma mode, right, Joe? So Naishkarmya is that akarma mode. And it also another name for that state in samadhi, where you are merged with the higher. So when you are merged with the higher, the person who is in that state knows whatever he does, he's not the doer. All of you have heard the word akarta, that akarta bano, or or not be a doer and all that. So akarta means I am doing action fully realizing that I'm nothing in this world, meaning my mind, body, intellect, nature is doing, but I'm seated in that higher self, which is akarta. In other words, when we see attributes of the Brahman, what do we say? That Brahman is eternal, and it doesn't get involved in the world. How do I say it? It doesn't get affected by the world. Remember, we talked about waves and the ocean. If the waves die, do the oceans die? No. Ocean is there. Ocean absorbs everything, brings everything up again. Ocean is eternal from that perspective. Or gold and ornaments. But if the ornaments start thinking, I'm so great, I am, see, look at my shape and this and that. Is the ornament has any astitva without the gold? No. So that's what it's talking about, that when somebody is seated in that wisdom, remember man of study wisdom, we studied. We study the man of steady wisdom. What is the wisdom they are talking about? They're talking about this wisdom that, hey, at that level, Brahman is Sat Chit Anand, or Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahman, or Satyam Shivam Sundaram, whatever you want to call it. At that state, I am seated in that. Everything else which is happening, it's happening with the nature. So if my mind is pure, then things will happen through me that will be good for the entire universe or the entire world. Basically, that's the idea of your actionlessness. It doesn't mean not doing anything. It means doing with that understanding. That's what nishkarma means. That's what akarta means. That's what akarma mode means. So he's using that word over here. And so if we don't understand that word, we won't understand it then, what he's saying. Okay, so
I
that...
just have a comment. That,
yes, please do.
I went through this long time, and to me, within Geeta, this is the most important point if you want to get moksha practically. All the other things are theoretical, but this is the real one, and I'll talk about it later once we finish this, because these 2 points, that one, he's talking as God, and the second, he's talking about this nishkam karm, or yogast hokar karm kar, or actionlessness. This is the most important point of the whole Gita.
Great. Thank you. And
they all are important, but this one is really, to understand and...
Right, it's the crux of it. True. Yeah. So actionlessness. Purusha is man. Ashnute is reaches. No, not. And sanyasanat means from renunciation. Eva, only. Siddhim, perfection. Samadhi gacchati, attains. So basically, some of the points that I'm going to just share with you, that I made a few notes for myself so that we can have a better clarity. So I already kind of mentioned that the state of enlightenment is the one that at that point, the person identifies with the self and not the world. And because he identifies with the self, that's why it's actionless, because self is actionless. And another way to understand self is actionless is, which I like the example very well, is the sun. The sun and the earth. Even scientifically, we know earth is absolutely nothing without the sun. All the energy that we get, whether it is solar energy, or whether it is gas, or whether it is coming from the sun. All the food that we eat is coming from the sun and moon's nutrition and everything. So we are nothing without the sun. But whatever we do on this earth, sun doesn't get affected, number one. Number two, sun is actionless in a sense. It is not getting involved in your action. It's just there. In sun's presence, everything is happening. Now you apply that to Brahman. Brahman's presence, everything is happening. But Brahman does not get affected by it. That's why it's actionless. It's not doing any action. Prakriti is doing the action. That's what this means, free from action. So the way one of the Swamis explained was so good. He said, it's not like you give up action, okay? But you transcend action when you are sitting in that meditation. It's a transcendental state because you rise above your mind, body, and intellect. All the action is happening in mind, body, and intellect, and you transcend it. That's why it's called nishkarma, or actionlessness and all that. So, because sometimes we don't understand the word. And another beautiful example this Swami gave was, just think of the lighthouse and ocean. Somebody is fallen into the ocean and swimming and all that. He's getting pushed by the waves and he's doing all that. There is a lighthouse and the person goes and sits in the lighthouse. Now everything is going around him. All the halla gulla hangama is happening in the ocean. Storm is coming. He's not affected because he's seated in the lighthouse. So this person, man of steady wisdom, or a person who is in the nishkarmya state, is seated in that lighthouse of consciousness, and that's why he beyond all sorrows. Remember, we said that he goes beyond all things can be happening in the world. He has a complete, understanding of what is happening up and down, but he's not getting involved because he's seated over there. That's one example he gave. And another example he gave was, sometimes we have that fan in our house and there's a light in the middle. Light is steady, but the fan is constantly moving. So the light is there and the fan is moving. Light of consciousness, you can call it. Get seated into that light. Everything is happening. That's another way to call that. This is Neshkarmya, So those are the very good example he gave. And he also said that the second part of it says that first part of this verse says that just by giving up action, you don't get the state of actionlessness. Because if you just see the word actionlessness, what does it sound like? Don't do anything.
Yeah.
So Krishna Bhagavan is saying, just by giving up some action, you don't reach that state. Okay? And the second time he says that not by mere renunciation does one attain perfection. Because renunciation is like, I'll give up. What was Arjun trying to give up? I don't want to do my duty. So just by giving up your duty, you're not going to become a sadhu. That will be just, किसी ने बोला ना कि वो खाली कपड़े पहनने से कोई साधु नहीं बन जाता है. Or other very good example to in my mind is, I want to become a doctor now. And I have seen the doctor wears a stethoscope and he wears a white coat. So I go to the market, I buy the white coat and I put the stethoscope and now say, I become a doctor. He's saying, no, you cannot become a doctor like that. You got to go study and become a doctor. So that's what Krishna Bhagavan is saying. Just by this external thing, drop the action and renounce karke baith gaye, you are not going to get it. Because if you are not ready for it, it will be a waste of time, energy of yours and people around you. So that's why you need to go get up and fight, he told Arjun. So he's telling us, get up and fight the internal war of our mind, And so that's what it is, okay? All right. And the last part that he was saying that, sometimes people get very fascinated by, I want to meditate. And then they'll say, please teach me how to meditate. And say, okay, now sit straight. Okay, baith gaye. Then you say, okay, now do pranayam. Wo bhi kar liya. Okay, and now stop thinking. And people don't know how to do that. The moment you say, okay, I'm not thinking. That's also a thought, for God's sake. So this Swami said, it's something like, I'm sleeping now, or I'm talking. Hey, when you're talking, I'm not talking, sorry. The person said, I'm not talking. Hey, while you're talking, you are saying that. So he's saying that when people say, I want to meditate, when you are prepared for it, you will have the energy to transcend that action. That's what he's talking about. And that energy and the enthusiasm and everything comes with purity of mind. Purity of mind is gained by, Karma Yoga. So with that background, we can go with what Swamiji has to say. Okay, who's the next volunteer? Since it's a big class, you guys volunteer who wants to read. Okay, Shireen. You have to unmute. Unmute audio. Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Not by non-performance of action does man reach actionlessness, nor by mere renunciation does he attain perfection. Spirituality as the self, every one of us is all full and perfect. Due to our ignorance of the
Okay, I have an issue here. Sorry. You have that fat book, right?
Yes, I do.
Sorry. You can read the Mandukya because this one we are.
No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. Somebody else can take it.
Yeah. Who has this blue one?
Okay, I have that. So I can go ahead with that.
Okay. Meenaji, go
Okay.
ahead.
By the non-performance of action, one cannot reach the state of actionlessness. The path of this great goal has been indicated in the Mahabharata, Shanti Parva 2204-8. Knowledge springs in men on the destruction of sinful karma. when the self is seen in self as in a clean mirror. And therefore, through right action, we have to get a complete purgation of the existing impressions gained through our past actions. When a mind is thus unloaded, it with ease springs forth on the path of its progressive development, and walking in the path of knowledge reaches the Lord. In short, the path of action is the only process by which an ordinary dense mind and intellect can be made knowledge worthy. By abstaining totally from action, one cannot reach the supreme goal of actionlessness, nishkarma.
Nashkarmya. That's the
Nish-
word they use, the nashkarma. It's the same like nishkam karma or
Yeah.
akarma, same thing, huh? So here, whatever we discuss, that's what he's saying, but he's also adding that, you see, Mahabharata, people look at it just like a story of the war. But there is so much wisdom in it. Besides even Bhagavad Gita is a jewel, okay, no doubt. Like somebody said it so beautifully that in the whole story of Mahabharata, if it's like a necklace, somebody has, I mean, not somebody, Krishna Bhagwan hung this Bhagavad Gita like a beautiful pendant in the center, okay. That's such a beautiful analogy for Bhagavad Gita. But in the rest of the malas also, or manis also of that necklace, there's a lot of wisdom. Even Vishnu Sahasranam is there and all, So he's talking about that. Mahabharata is said that knowledge springs in men on the destruction of sinful karma when the self is seen in self as a clean mirror. मैंने बोला ना, जब पाप कम होते हैं, that means हमारा mind pure होता है, तब knowledge आती है. उसके पहले अगर आएगी ना knowledge, तो वो बहुत colored knowledge होगी, colored with our own things and all that. And then I think in chapter 10 probably Krishna Bhagwan says that if somebody sincerely is going on their path, I give them buddhi yoga, means I give them comprehension power to understand the shastras. So that's also very, very important that we take the correct import of the shastra, because otherwise people in the name of religion kitni atrocities karte hai. You know that all that danger is there. So that's what it means, that wisdom is given. And self is seen as a clean mirror, and we have seen that our mind is like a mirror which is dirty. That's why we don't see Bhagwan or we don't understand. But as the mirror gets cleaned by karma yoga, I understand, and then in the end, I will see it clearly, meaning I will get established in that wisdom, clean mirror. Okay? And this is the process. Okay. Go ahead.
Hasty students, both Indian and foreign, no doubt get confused and stupefied when they read in the literature of Vedanta that the goal of perfection is the state of actionlessness. Personally, in my own early studies of Vedanta, I really got disgusted with the seemingly superficial import of this term actionlessness, used to indicate the goal of perfection. In my estimate then, as it is, I'm sure the ignorant conclusion of many of my modern friends, I concluded that the highly intellectual and satisfying theory of Vedanta ultimately points out only to a goal of utter idleness or an endless state of non-stop sleep.
So now I told you that Swamiji himself said that when he heard this word in the beginning, how upset he was. Hey, Vedanta is going to make everybody like into lazy bums. कुछ भी काम मत करो, बैठ जाओ. That's what, when it's an actionlessness, एकदम से translate करो तो ऐसा दिखता है ना. So he's admitting that he also felt that this was something not right.
But this conclusion must obviously be wrong, or else I must conclude that all my past generations, from the days of Vedas till today, were all fools, and the only wise ones are myself and my own contemporaries. Even here, I must exclude those who have come to understand and appreciate this point of view even in my own times. There must be then an explanation why this term is not protested against by the wise men of yore.
So see how he's telling us that if so many people believe in it for millenniums, and Krishna Bhagavan is saying this was there even before, when the Srishti started, it has been there. So kuch to hoga usme. So then when people say, start giving their own opinion and all, and we say that okay, just wait, have patience, have open mind, try to understand. कुछ कुछ बोल रहा है, मेरे को समझ में नहीं आ रहा है, कुछ तो कारण होगा वो बोल रहा है. इतने बड़े बड़े स्वामी लाइक जैसे ना कि हजारों लोग जाते हैं सुनने के लिए, वो बेवकूफ़ तो नहीं हो सकते सभी के सभी. So it's like if there somebody is saying I may not be understanding right now. Even Chinmanaji didn't understand in the early stages, but look at his own progress. So if we are humble enough to submit and say yes, please teach me, the right way, I will understand it. So we have to just keep that in mind that if there is some shastra is saying something, I have to have patience, and that's why in Mandukya some of the concepts sounded so outlandish. But if he say, that's why we do this prayer. Remember, Narayanam Padbhuvam Vashishtam, that this knowledge has come just to remind me before I start. It's not man gadant nahi hai ye. It's very high knowledge. I may not understand, but if I have patience and if I do the prescription they are telling me to do by karma yoga, I will understand. That much faith and all that we need to have, that I will understand it.
Do you want to continue? It's 12 o'clock.
What we could do, since you said we can stop here and then we'll continue. But we got the gist of it, but that's good. Maybe that if we stop here, we can churn upon it 1 week and then,
Right.
That's fine. Where did you finish? I just want to put the mark. There must be an explanation, right? Why this term? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got it. Okay. So before we go to Mandukya, anybody has any question or comment directly related to this verse? Because if you have other question and comment about any spiritual thing, we will discuss it at that half an hour. But if it's directly related to it, please feel free.
Yeah, I have a couple of them.
हाँ बोलो.
One is an interesting example of sun. And so sun is doing actionlessness because he wants to become Brahma. Because sun is losing its power all the time and eventually will disappear. But he's doing actionless karma so that he's not creating any other actions which are the karmas.
Very
So
interesting.
To be at a higher level, this is what it is.
Very beautiful, yeah. I think, don't you think that in nature, all the nature does that? Like, they are doing actionlessness in a sense. They are in their own nature and they are not adding any more karmas. Like somebody was saying that the flower, gives fragrance.
Yeah.
It gives fragrance to everybody, and it doesn't say ये favorite को दूंगा, इसको नहीं दूंगा. It just be in its nature.
And you can have that stage and it will surprise you. Because you'll think that, if I don't initiate this thing will not happen. But once you go in that stage, all the things you are going to do is already there. And it will make it happen without your trying to do it. True. So after a while, you will distinguish between, am I saying that or it is happening? So a simple one I was used to say was, I want to fall asleep. No, I want to sleep. It's an action. I don't want to sleep is also an action. Now I fall asleep without thinking about whether I'm going to sleep or not sleep. It is actionlessness.
Very nice, yes.
Now everything you can use of this in the whole work. In fact, I've used it personally, but because it's a period of time. So when your universal mind takes over, instead of logical and physical, it will drive you to do that. And after a while, you will stop carrying the burden on your head and it will happen. Now, I know it's very hard to believe, but and then you'll be in meditative state all the time while you're doing karma. So you're not doing the meditation.
True. I think that's exactly what he's saying, and he's giving the prescription that by doing the karma yoga, means doing your action with this attitude, it will lead you to that automatically. What
and
Joe
you'll
is
be
saying.
called a Makatarian then.
What is
That's
that?
what my wife told me. So actually, I was reading about this one Swami also. Anybody will go and ask him some question, he'll say, I'll tell you later. He never answer right away. And then somebody asked him later, why can't you tell this before? He said, because I have to figure out, the message has to come to me what to say. So the direction of you is determined by not you, but the universe.
Yes. You become the instrument. And I think that that's what Krishna Bhagwan told Arjun in chapter 11, that you are nimitta matra. So you become the nimitta. जो होना होगा वो मैं करवा के छोड़ूंगा किसी से. If you want to be part of it, great. It's giving you the glory. It's like you go to a place and you say, can give me some job to do, and I feel so honored. Yeah, मेरे को मिला ये काम, you know. That's all it is. काम तो चलेगा सृष्टि वगैरह से, तो अगर तुम नहीं करोगे तो कोई और करेगा. So you become the right निमित्त.
Also, there are three things you need for the moksha: no desires, and no karmas, and no consequence of their karmas. So if you don't do a karma mode, you'll create the consequence, because the third law of Newton is still valid. To every action there is an equal opposite reaction. So the only way you eliminate the stack which you form every time you do an action is keep doing actionlessness. And then gradually this stack wears out, and your desires have to wear out anyway before, otherwise you can never get there. So that stack, when it finishes eventually. So even the people who have become actualized, they're still doing work in this world. But they're doing it in an actionless way, and they're trying to remove all their previous karmas they had, or consequences they had accumulated. I mean, they don't have desire, of course, but they still have the previous accumulation of karmas. Like somebody got a throat cancer and died. I mean, he didn't have a hunky-dory life. Or somebody died at 39 with diabetes. These are all the, or when their work was done, you can say, either way.
So everything that you're saying, it will start opening up now more and more. Even in Swamiji's commentary, he's going to talk about actionlessness, desirelessness, and those couple of words he's going to open up a little more. And chapter 3, 4, and 5 will be opening up all those things. What Joe is saying from his own experience. Yeah.
Unless you feel it yourself, it's very hard to believe it.
But like Krishna Bhagwan said,
now my initiating.
Like Krishna Bhagwan said, that if the great people are saying that, there has to be some substance in it. So we have to just have faith, you know. Okay, very good. Let's go to our prayer of Mandukya. Om Bhadram Karne Bhishrunyam Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhirya Chatraha Stirai Range Sushtu Vagam Sastanubhihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swastina Indro Vruddhashavaha Swastina Pusha Vishwavedaha Swastina Staksharyo Arishtanemihi Swastino Bruhaspatirtadatu Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Shri Guru Bhyo Namaha Hari Om Narayanam Padbhuvam Vashishtam Shaktincha Tatputra Parasharam Cha Vyasam Shukam Gaudapadam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Mathasya Shishyam Shri Shankaracharya Mathasya Padma Padam Chahasta Malakancha Shishyam Tam Trotakam Vartika Karya Manyan Asmad Gurun Santata Manatosmi Asmad Gurun Santata Manatosmi. Okay, so we finished 97 last time, and it said the slightest idea of plurality in Atman entertained by the ignorant walls them off from their approach to the unconditioned. Where then is the destruction of the veil covering the real nature of the Atman? So he's just saying that at that highest state, there is no veil, no nothing, and but again, we talked about it. He's talking about that Ekdam Satchit Anand state, say. And we discussed it with the example that snake and the rope. From the rope's perspective, there is no snake. and तुमको दिखाई दे रहा है, that is your problem of your mind. So just keep that example in your mind before we go to 98, because it is related, this verse. अलब्ध्वा वर्णा सर्वे धर्मा प्रकृति निर्मलाः आदौ बुद्धस्तथा मुक्ता बुध्यन्ते इति नायकाः. अलब्ध, फ्री फ्रॉम. आवरणः, हिंदी में बोलते हैं ना आवरण, कोई चीज, वेल और बॉन्डेज ऑफ इग्नोरेंस. सो जो इग्नोरेंस है उसको शास्त्रों में वेल बताया गया है. जैसे माया बोलते हैं ना, माया ने ढक लिया तुमको. देयर सो मेनी डिफरेंट वर्ड्स, इग्नोरेंस, माया, वेल. और वो लास्ट टाइम मीरा जी वाज सेइंग दैट भजन, नो, घूंघट वाला भजन. कहाँ है मीरा जी? आई एम ट्राइंग टू सी. ओ देयर यू आर. रिमेंबर, घूंघट के पट खोल. तो वो पट की बात कर रहे हो. वेल. ओके. सर्वे, ऑल. धर्मा, souls. Means here each word has a different meaning in different context. Here they mean souls. Jivas, souls and jiva are the same thing. Prakriti, by nature. Nirmalaha, pure. Adau, from the very beginning. Buddhaha, ever illuminated. Tatha, and. Muktaha, liberated. Buddhyante, capable to know. Iti, that. Nayakaha, wise men and masters. So before I go into this, to explain this concept, of substratum, Brahman, or Bhagwan, जो भी आपको बोलना हो, it is so difficult. Sometimes they use contradictory language. So जैसे sometimes even when I ask my husband something, scientific question, I will say, is it like this? And he will say, yes and no. He always begins like that. And then he will give me both sides, And then if I hear the both side, and then I have to logically come to my own conclusion. Something like that, okay? Just think about it that way. Because it's like if I put a stone on the table and I ask all of you, hey, is this like a non-moving or moving item? What will you say? Most of us will say non-moving because it's not moving. And some scientists will say, who told you that? It is constantly moving because all the atoms है, उसके अंदर वो सब चालू है ना, क्या बोलते हैं उसको, I don't even know, प्रोटॉन, न्यूट्रॉन, सब घूम रहा है इतना जोर से, So see, here you go. Even a stone, I cannot say that it is still or it's moving. So like that, in the Shastras, they have to give you both sides. And what they mean is understand both sides and catch the import, what it's saying. So from the same perspective, some people will say, kaun sa ignorance? There is no ignorance, no veil. Others say, no, there is Maya. Both are correct. Seeing which perspective. From the sun's perspective, hey, no action is happening. He's there still. On the earth's perspective, everything is, sun is doing this and sun is doing that, right? We say that sun is rising, sun is setting. Is the sun going in the water? But I see it every day from my house, but it's not going because it's just, that's how it seems like. So from my perspective, yeah, sun is, from my eyes, sun is going in the water, but in reality, it's not. So both can be true, depending on who's saying. So keep that in mind. Okay. Now, Shireen, you can read.
All jivas are ever free from bondage and pure by nature. They are ever illumined and liberated from the very beginning. Still, the wise speak of the individuals as capable of knowing the self-good.
So before you go, do you remember last time they had used this word, the self is not produced through sadhana, it is only discovered? And then Sushil ji had brought why did they use the word produce? And we were discussing that sometimes they fall short of words, so they just have to use some word. But what they are trying to say is that it was always there, but you just didn't know it. And then I narrated that whole drishtant of this child who was like a prince, but he spent his life like a beggar because the beggar he got wo kho gaya tha and all that. He was always the prince, but he just didn't know it. In the same way, we are always ever illuminated and liberated, but I feel the bondage. I don't know it. That's where it stands.
Sri Shankara poses a question in his commentary and claims that this stanza is a reply to the objectionist. The objectionist asks, it has been stated in the previous karika that the destruction of the veil covering the real nature of the Atma is not possible. This is, in fact, an admission by the Vedantin that the real nature of the jivas is covered by a veil. The stanza now under discussion is a reply to this objection.
So he's just saying कि in Vedanta, they say कि कि वो है, Maya है. So one side is saying that there's nothing there, and the other side is saying. So then he's just saying that that means you admit. Like जिसको argue करना होएगा ना, वो कोई कुछ ना कुछ point निकाल ही लेगा. Like मैंने वो पत्थर का example दिया. Somebody will say, hey, make up your mind what you want to tell. Don't tell me both the things. Something like that. Okay.
The spiritual entity in all ego centers is ever pure and untouched by any of its known limitations, because all limitations upon it are created by the delusory dream of the mind. They are pure by nature, illumined and free from the very beginning, as it is said that they are of the nature of eternal purity, knowledge and freedom, says Sri Sankara.
So here he's just saying that all these limitations that we feel is because of created in the delusory dream of the mind. Because remember, he also said that whatever we feel in the waking world also is like a dream only. So our mind has cooked up all these things, but actually we are eternal. Nature of eternal purity, knowledge and freedom, and it's the same like Sat Chit Anand and Satyam Gnanam Anantam Brahma. So all of us are that, he's saying.
If this be so, then why is it that jivas are described as capable of knowing the ultimate reality by the teachers in the Upanishads? Sri Shankara explains this idea by an analogy. We do say in an ordinary transaction that the sun rises, the sun sets, and yonder stands the hill, and so on. In all these cases, we know that the sun neither sets nor rises in its own nature, nor does the hill ever move about, frolicking and jumping about, but it eternally stands. Yet in the nature of things, in a day-to-day life, we talk the language of relative experiences, and we do superimpose upon the sun such qualities as rising, setting, moving, shining, and so on. Although we know astronomically that the sun is a motionless mass of constant illumination and heat.
So here we already went through this entire example. Okay. So everybody understood that sun doesn't move. The earth is moving around it, but I see the sun moving. And I also use that language every day. Just because I use that language every day doesn't mean that that's what is true. That is just a language of the world, transactional world, vyavaharik world. This is how we talk to each other. It doesn't mean that that's the absolute truth. That's what he's saying. So the veil and the Maya and all. Maya का मतलब ही मैंने बताया था कि संस्कृत में Maya means that which is not. So Maya defines itself in Sanskrit. कि मैं दिखती हूँ मर हूँ नहीं. Okay? Basically that's what it is.
But in terms of a world and a day-to-day experience, we predicate qualities upon the sun which are all false from the standpoint of the sun. So too here, though the different entities are in fact eternal and absolute, the great masters of realization, talking to us in a language of ignorance, are compelled to use such optimistic expression as the jivas are capable of knowing their ultimate selfhood. With reference to the dreamer, we can say that he is capable of knowing his own waking state.
that's a very beautiful example, right? With reference to a dreamer. So जब हम लोग ड्रीम करते हैं और we are in the dream state, when can we are capable of knowing our waking state? When we wake up. So when I wake up, I have not become a different person. I just realize, oh wow, that was a dream. My mind had cooked up this story, you know. So he's saying that, but from the dreamer, you can say he's capable of knowing the waker when he wakes up. The same way saints and sages are saying that even though you are in ignorance, you are capable of knowing the Brahman, which was always there anyway. But they're just using that language. Okay? That's what it is. So, any question on this particular concept? That it's always there, we just don't know it. And the Shastras are saying, and then it fits in with this, our Bhagavad Gita, if you want to relate to it, that we are already have that self-realization. In a sense, we are realized, but we just don't know. So through the Karma Yoga path, I'm just polishing my mirror of my mind, making it pure. And as it gets purer, the truth will dawn upon me. And then when it's completely clear, then I will see, the mirror, may Bhagwan, exactly as it is, or the substratum exactly as it is. That's when I will realize that, actionlessness will happen, like whatever Joe was describing. So that you can relate back on the Bhagavad Gita also. Okay, so I'm going to stop this here. And we will go into the discussion, and Joe had something more to say. If anybody else wants to say, this is a first preference, we will give it to the related topic. If somebody has a question, and if not, then you can go another spiritual question. But we'll try to keep the half an hour also for spirituality only. Okay.